Hello and welcome. Thanks for watching. All the information about what you need to make these cute little baby trainers and sizing is in the description box below. You can make them in sizes 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, or 6 to 12 months. Let's get going. To begin, make a slip knot and chain 10. And then into the third chain from the hook, we're going to make 2 double crochets. So yarn over hook, insert your hook into the chain, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Once more, yarn over your hook, insert hook into the chain, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Into the next 6 chains, we're going to make 1 double crochet into each. And then into the final chain, we're going to make 6 double crochets. Next, we're going to mirror what we did on this side and make 6 double crochets, 1 each into the next 6 chains. If you're not quite sure where to put your hook, give your work a little tug, and do you see how those little gaps open up? That's where you're going to put your hook. And 6. Into the same place that we made our first 2 double crochets, we're going to make another 2 to finish off. And at the end of round 1, you should have 22 stitches, and it's always worth double checking to make sure you're on the right track. And then to join, you ignore the starting chain, and at the top of the first stitch into the V, you slip your hook underneath, yarn over, pull through and pull through, and that's you closed your round with a slip stitch, and that's round 1 done. For round 2, start by chaining 2 and then into the first stitch at the base of the chain to the left if you're right-handed, and to the right if you're left-handed, we're going to work 2 double crochets. And into the next stitch, we're also going to work 2 double crochets. Then 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. Whoops. You can tell what a good crocheter I am. The amount of mistakes I make. Not to worry. Right, did I do 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes, right. Into the next 8 stitches, we're going to make 2 double crochets into each. So we're making a few increases. So that's 2 double crochets into each of the next 8 stitches. Now let's see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then again, mirroring the other side, we're going to make 1 double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. Now, where the starting chain joins the body of our work, that doesn't count as a stitch. So we've got 2 stitches remaining, and into each of those stitches we're going to make 2 double crochets. And that's round 2. And now you should have 34 stitches. So have a wee double check, and then again to join, ignore the starting chain, go to the first stitch, the V at the top, slip your hook under, yarn over, slip through, and there we are, round 2 done. Round 3, we're going to start by chaining 1, and then we're going to make single crochets all the way around, no increases, no decreases. We're just going to work into the back loops. So you see we've got the front loop and we've got the back loop, and we're just going to work into the back loop. So 1 single crochet into each stitch. If I put my hook in properly, it would help. All the way round, and I'll meet you towards the end of this round. Coming up to the end of the round, again remember that the starting chain where it meets the body of our work doesn't count as a stitch. So we've got 2 stitches left. So I'll just do the single crochets into the back of them. And then we join again, top of the first stitch, slip your hook under the V, yarn over, pull through and pull through. And you see, because we worked just into the back loop, we've got this nice little ridge. So the next round 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to just repeat the last round. So chain 1 to start, and then single crochets all the way around, working into the back loops only. And I'll meet you towards the end of the round. So coming up to the end of the round, join with a slip stitch, and then I'll just get my scissors, snip off the end, pull through, and that's us finished the base of our little boots. And we just sew in this end, and I like to use a pointy ended needle because it gives, to my mind, a more secure fastening. There's nothing more annoying than when you've made something and your ends sneak out and spoil the look of your work. So just sew that in, and we will continue. There. Right. Next, we're going to make the toe section of our little boots. So we want to work out the middle of these stitches. So we've got an even number of stitches. We've still got our 34. So just fold over the toe bit there, and then go up from this line, and you see those are our 2 middle stitches. So get a stitch marker, choose one of them, doesn't matter which, and pop a stitch marker in. And then you want to count back 8 towards the heel. So this side you're going to include the stitch marker, the stitch that the stitch marker is in rather. So 2, 4, 6, 8, there's your 8th, put a stitch marker in. And then at the other side, this time you're not going to count the stitch where the stitch marker is, and you're going to again count back 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, and pop your stitch marker in. Then you can take away this one, we don't need it, and you've marked off the toe section of your shoe, boot rather. Now get the colour of yarn you want to make the toe section with. Take out this one, making sure you don't forget which stitch you're working into. Slip your hook into the back loop. Just loop your new yarn over your hook and pull through. And then holding on to that tail at the back, chain 2, and then work a double crochet into that stitch, back loop only. But stop there, because we're going to make 8 double crochet decreases around. So yarn over again and into the next stitch in the back loop, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and you've now got 3 loops on your hook. That's your starting chain. These are your 2 stitches. Yarn over, pull through all 3, and you've made a double crochet decrease. So you're going to make another 7 of those. Let's work another one together. Yarn over your hook, insert into the back loop only, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, back loop only, yarn over, pull through, you've got 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, so you've now got 2 loops on, say that again, you've now got 3 loops on your hook, and that's your 2 stitches. Yarn over, pull through all 3, and you've made another double crochet decrease. So you want to make another 6 of those, reaching this other stitch marker, and I'll meet you just as you're coming up to it. So I'm going to make my last double crochet decrease into these 2 stitches. So I'll take my marker away now, and again working into the back loops only. There, so we've started shaping the toe. Next, excuse me, next you want to chain 2 and turn your work. And now we're going to make 4 double crochet decreases over these 8 stitches. So our starting chain doesn't count as a stitch, and now we're going to work under both loops. So make the 4 double crochet decreases. There we are. And see, excuse me, again we're forming the toe section. Now next we want to get scissors, snip off, oh, sorry I keep pushing that out of frame, scissors, snip off, pull that through, get your yarn needle and sew in your end, and I'll meet you in a minute. Right, so I've sewed in my 2 ends with this colour of the yarn at the start and at the end of this little toe bit. Next, working in the same yarn, we're going to attach it on the right hand side of the toe section if you're right-handed, and you'd attach it on the left-hand side if you were left-handed, and working in the opposite direction. And then holding on to that tail at the back, work a single chain and then a single crochet into that stitch. And now we're going to work another 8 stitches across. So here in between these 2 double crochet decreases, that's our middle stitch. So you want 4 stitches up that side, that's your 5th stitch, and 4 stitches along this side. So just make them spaced out evenly, judge it what you think looks good. So that's 2, 3, 4, and then here in between these 2 double crochets, that's my middle one, that's 5, and then another 4 down other side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's fine. Chain 1, turn your work, and then this time we're not going to work into the first stitch, you're going to work into the next and single crochet over. So this time you're single crocheting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Chain 1, turn your work, and again we won't work into the first stitch because we're just shaping this round a wee bit. We don't want it to, this is the tongue, and we don't want it too bulky. So again, just work into the next stitch, single crochets again, and work across. Meet you at the end. And then you want to get your scissors, snip and pull through, and then sew in that end, and I'll meet you back. Right, so I've sewn in the end, oh, and I also sewed in the other end as well. There is a lot of sewing in of ends with these boots, but it doesn't take that long, and they're so cute, it's worth the effort. Right, to finish off this toe and tongue section, we are going to again join our yarn, so you'll have more ends to sew in. So right hand side if you're right-handed, left hand side if you're left-handed. So just join it, chain 1, make a stitch. And actually, you know, this time if you want, you could just pop your end behind and crochet over it as you go, or sew it in at the end. I prefer to sew it in at the end because I think it gives you the end's less likely to come out. That's my thinking anyway, or to show. Right, and now all we're going to do is single crochet all the way over and back down to give it a nice neat finish. So we're just doing a couple of crochets up the side here. And then crocheting along the top and down the other side. You've got the idea. So I'll meet you at the end of this bit once you've done this, and again sewing in your ends. See you soon. Right, so the third section of the shoe. If you're right-handed, you're going to join on this side, and if you're left-handed, you're going to join on this side. So down at the bottom here, slip your hook in, slip your third colour, or if you're whatever colour you're using, you can make them in 1 colour, 2 colour, 3 colours, up to you. Pull that through and chain 1, and then make a single crochet into that stitch, and then you're just going to make single crochets in the back loops only all the way around until you meet the other side. So I'll meet you over here. So I keep saying so, honest to goodness. Right, coming up to the end, and then you're just going to make your final stitch in there, and then chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're not going to make a stitch into the bottom of the chain, into that first stitch. We're going to work into the next stitch along, okay? And then just make another row of single crochets, and I'll meet you again towards the end. If I'm not saying so, I'm saying I'll meet you towards the end. Alright, coming up to the end of that row, chain 1, turn your work, skip the stitch where the first stitch, and that's your chain 1, and then work another row of single crochets, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. So there we are at the end of that row, okay? And then you're going to hate me, but never mind. Snip off, whoops, snip off, pull through and sew in your end, and I'll meet you in a minute. Right, we're getting there, I promise. Next, we're going to edge here. So again, if you're right-handed, you're joining this side. If you're left-handed, you're joining this side. Slip your hook in. Get your yarn, pull through, you know the routine. Chain 1, make a stitch, and then we're just going to we're just going to make single crochets all the way over, and at the corner make 2 single crochets. By the corner I just mean just at the top of this wee bit that slants to there. So over here, the corner's here, so there and then down. Okay. Yet again, I will meet you at the end of this row. Okay, we're coming up to that other wee corner. Make 2 single crochets there, and then down the side. There. And now get your scissors and snip off. Sew in your ends, and I'll meet you to make the laces. We are nearly there. To make the laces is very simple. Get a smaller hook than the one you've been using, because you want to make them nice and tight. And then make a slip knot, and then as tight as you can, just chain a nice tight chain. And you want to make your chain about 16 inches or 40 centimetres. So just keep chaining nice and tight for about 40 centimetres or 16 inches, and I'll meet you once you've got the length. Right, once you've got your length, just get your scissors, snip off, pull pull through and give it a nice tight pull. Nice and tight. And do the same at the other end. Nice and tight. Grand. Then just snip off, leave a little bit yarn, about that much. Snip it off and just free it, just like that. Okay, and then get your little shoe, and we're just going to get the laces in. We've not made holes, obviously, because there's plenty of holes in between the stitches. So work out about, obviously you want them about equal, so I would say about there and there. And you want to just be pushing that through. If you can't push it through, if you can't push it through with your fingers, get a crochet hook. Oh, I forgot to cut that end off. There, and free it. Right, there I said. Okay. Get my wee bits out the way. Right, get it about even. Is that about even? Nope. Try again. Is that about? Yes. Hurrah. Right. And then you're going to work out where you want to put it higher up. I might need the hook this time. I think I want it in about there. So just gently tease it through. And then the same on the other side. Ah, my hook. Oh, that's it. Right, get that through. There, practically finished. Now, the last thing that I like to do is I like to get a little bit, oh, hang on, yarn everywhere. So just get a wee bit of yarn, maybe a wee bit that you've cut off from earlier, or a wee bit off your ball of wool. This time you want to use a blunt ended needle. And I just like to finish off these wee boots by the bottom bit of our lace here. If you recall, this was our middle stitch when we picked up the stitches from the toe part. And I just put the lace over that middle stitch. And then, if I get that, I then put my needle under there, pull through, and again, and again. So 4 times, and then pop it to the back, turn this out and get that end bit through, and then I tie this And yes, you've got another 2 ends to sew in, or you can leave them knotted, but I would prefer to tie them in. And that is you pretty much done your shoe, but it's not really holding its shape right yet. So what you need to do, or what I like to do, is I always block my work. So that's basically, you spritz it with water, and then I get some, this is some old cushion stuffing or some soft toy stuffing would do. And I just stuff it in like that. And then I push and I prod and I sugar. And I get things just the way I want them. Obviously, as I say, after I've wet it. And there we are. At last I'm finished pushing and prodding and sugaring away. So then I would set them off to dry. And once they've dried, they really hold their shape nicely. So a wee bit of a faff, but they're so cute. I hope you make them. I hope they go well. And I hope to see you again. Bye-bye just now.